Hey, how's it going, folks? My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT. We're back with another live stream. Today, as you may have seen with the thumbnail, just says sequencer. I don't really have much else to say with the thumb other than that's kind of what we're playing with. We're going to play with the Labyrinth's sequencer with some modular gear. Something that I think has become really popular is sequencing like electron boxes or just a lot of other external boxes that have built-in sequencers with sequencers that do like stochastic sequencing or Euclidean sequencing or some sort of generative sequencing that you wouldn't naturally come up with on your own. That's what the Labyrinth has in it. Not either of those, stochastic or Euclidean, but it just has a generative sequencer where you can flip bits, and it has this like sample and hold type situation that's flipping bits for you when you use the corrupt knob. This isn't news to anybody. Labyrinth has been out for a little while now. It's really cool. But what I started doing with it, and not that this is unique to me either, I'm sure other folks have stumbled across this idea, is using the Labyrinth's sequencer to sequence all the gear in this Eurorack setup. There's more to what you're seeing than right here, but mostly the three voices are pictured right here. We use the Labyrinth, the Siren, and then the Moog Mavis. And those are all the sounds that you were hearing. That's the siren right here, this super rare module. And I'm actually using the envelope generator from the Mavis going into the little VCA up here that's kind of hidden by this plant. I have to have plants or I can't make music. I'll just die from electronic overload. And this thing's dope. It's got pitch lock, which is a really nice feature. And it can do that really atonal, insane stuff, like this. So I just think it's really cool. What's going on over here? I'll just talk a little bit about these modules really quick, and then I'm just going to make some music because that's really what I feel like doing today. Not just doing presentation stuff. All right, so here we go. Here's what we're looking at. We got the blue box with a black blue box, and we have an effects aid over here, which the Labyrinth is going into, and it's got like some delay set up on it right now. And I'm taking the sequencer 1, I believe, sequencer 1 output, and I'm running that into a mult. I'm sending that mult over to a shift register, then I'm sending the sequencer from sequencer 1, the CV from it, so the pitch information that the Moog is generating, out to this mult and then into a shift register as well, so that if I want to, I can offset the rhythms for other devices. So I can create new sequences with the shift register. We're not going to go deep into shift register stuff today. I don't feel like explaining all this stuff, or even if I have the mental capacity to do it right now. I don't think it's available. What I can do is make some cool sounds and record them into my Digitakt 2 and turn that into music. That's the goal today. So Labyrinth, sequencing everything else. Borrowing this sequencer, we have two different sequencers on here to sequence the other devices in this case. We have a Nautilus for some more effects. Blue Box has some great effects in it as well. We have a Clouds, which has got the siren running into it, so we can do some weird stuff. This is a really rare Clouds. As you can see, this is an Instro U-Cloud. So this is like before Instro was making their own original modules, they were doing clones, and this is old. I've had this for like 7 years or something when I first started getting into Eurorack. Something like that. It's quite old module. Yeah, and that's the whole concept here. This is, of course, modular, so subject to change, but it's a fun little setup right now. Let's get this plant out of here. It's killing my vibe. And now I can see the chat. But I think it sounds really dope. So we have like, I'm going to kind of scooch the camera back over in a second, but let's just keep talking about this. When I have MIDI coming out from my Digitakt, or it's coming out from my Syntect actually. It's going through MIDI through all my electron boxes and then ending up here. And then I'm taking the outputs from here and just sending them out to do other things, which the Moog voltage, I believe, is a different voltage than what other Eurorack modules have. So not everything is perfect, but the CV seems to be just fine. So it's been sequencing just fine. I tuned the Mavis to the Labyrinth and everything's good. And then I tuned the Siren to the Mavis, and everything was good, and everything seems to be in ship shape as far as I can tell. Sounds I'm getting from it are great. So we can take this module out because I'm using the 410, which is a quad. It's not a VCA. It has a static voltage, but it's a quad attenuator. It'd be cool if it was an attenuverter too. But I'm using this quad attenuator to act as just a mix fader for me, so I can take the siren out when I want to. Because doing it on here sucks. Like this is a bad experience. You need like a MIDI controller, which I have, like a little Korg fader controller, work really well with this. But this works just fine for me. I always put this module in every build that I do in my larger cases because it's so incredibly useful. This is like a static stop button, or I can use it to trigger gates. I haven't really played with it much. And yeah, that's basically the whole setup. There's not much in terms of like the complexity of this system. It's just, we want these sounds. I want these analog sounds from the Labyrinth. I want the sound of the ladder filter with the Mavis, and I want the weird sounds of the siren. This is like, I believe, the like really awesome sound sources for making techno production. And it's really simple. I'm keeping things really basic. Mostly it's all hands-on for me. All right, let's back it back over to the electron side of things. And yeah, this is kind of how the production would go. I'd use some of these effects to bring stuff in. You can get bass lines out of this too, but this is kind of acting as our bassline generator. And we can switch this right now. Now this is running on its other sequencer while this is being fed sequencer 2. Oh no, it's the other way around, my bad. This is being fed sequencer 2 and this being fed sequencer 1. Go right into this like minimal techno paradise right here. Spice things up a little bit because it'll get a little boring. Something I think that could be used to great effect is this bass width filter on your kick drum. So everything else is still has its flavor. We've taken the kick out. This gives us some room to like introduce a new sound while still keeping the rhythm of the kicks. We don't have too many instruments playing right now. I think this is totally working. Yeah, DT2 is just kicking a hat. Doesn't take much to make techno. I think less is more usually in these situations. I think what would be kind of nice here would be to maybe like sidechain this incoming audio, which we can do on the Octatrack actually. Oh wait, I have it running into my Digitakt too. Never mind. Because I wanted to sample it. We could do it on the Digitakt too. Let's see. Yeah. Sidechain source will be track 1. But what we run into our sidechain will be nothing but the inputs. Nice. Cool. And now we're sidechaining our modular system. And all we're sending the modular system is clock. So I don't really want to do too much melodic stuff on this side. I kind of just want to play with my modular system. This is kind of what I think is the best way to use a modular system, in my opinion. Use some like unique generative sequencers, patch some stuff up, and just see what happens. Things like shift registers are really cool to use too. Let's see if I can give you a little example of that. Now we have a new sequence because I just changed things around with my shift register. And that's being fed into my siren. So now we have a different sequence on the siren specifically than everything else. So if I start bringing this back in, all being generated from one sequencer, just being shared. Kind of nice just to have this as like a breakdown even. There we go, right back into stuff. I mean, this is pretty cool. I'm digging this concept. You can't really beat the sound of like the Moog ladder filter either. Check this out. We want to switch things up too. Let's take this, filter this kick out. Like what? breakdown. If he drops that kick for too long, I'm going down. Ta-da. I just think that is so fun. And it's like finally bringing me back to like using my modular a bit more. I was like, wow, I fell in love with the Moog Labyrinth. But it wasn't just because of the sound that it generated, because the sounds it generates you can really accomplish with like so many different voices in Eurorack format, that is. You know, you do have to have some familiarity with like different filters and oscillators to have some to pick the right stuff to emulate this. But this is like the culmination of several different modular concepts into one box, and we've covered this for 2 hours before on another prior stream, so I don't want to go too deep into Labyrinth territory. But what I really liked about it was that I feel like I'm getting that same torso T1 Oxy or torso S1 and Oxy 1 and Euclidean vibe. I'm getting that sequencer vibe where I don't know what's going to happen, but I have just enough control over the sequencer to get things that I like and to keep them. And you can even do the recall here with, you know, one patch at a time. So I feel like this kind of like does what my Metropolis was doing for me. Mind you, the Metropolis is a far more complex sequencer that does a lot, but this is doing for me what that sequencer was so great at, which was just generating a cool sequence very easily. Mind you, I don't have the exact control like a Metropolis has. Metropolis is very, you can fine tune a sequence, save and recall them, and go and play shows in that way. This way is more of a performative thing where I just make sure the oscillators are in tune, like a lot of modular shows are, and then throw some MIDI over to it, and then program some drums in a nice drum machine. Any drum machine would do here at this point. I mean, this little steppy would do just fine for what I'm doing here. I could just use steppy, throw a kick and like a mutant hi-hat or something in here. Boom. And just take this and go play shows. You even have like, you know, some formidable effects in the Blue Box mixer. So really not bad at all. Not bad at all. And if you mix it with a shift register or something, even like an arpeggiator would be really cool to send these sequences out to, and then, you know, share that arpeggiation with other modules in your case would be a great idea. Or another quantizer even would be a great pick. I also have this Maestro in here for my modulation, which I haven't done anything with. I don't know how I want to use it here, or even if I really need to use it that much. right now. I think I'm still trying to get familiar with the sounds that I'm making before I just completely destroy them with all sorts of automation lanes that this kind of offers you. And I also wanted to see, like, does the Syntakt fit into this mix at this point? You can hear that there's some reverb on here. That's coming from the blue box, which you can't, is now out of the screen. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could provide chords. Should we try that out? Let's see. This should be... There you go. Minor chords are really all you want to do here anyway. Switch this. Yeah, now we got chords. Sounds kind of goofy. Sounds like I'm doing like some like Russian like jig or something. I don't know. For whatever reason, it makes me think of that. Getting a little weird. This is making a chord. Nasty. Very fun system. Fun ideas. Very simple ideas, too. Honestly, a more affordable Eurorack system than a lot of Eurorack systems that are fitting in a 7U case, because this fills up so much HP and so does this for so little money. To fill up this much HP is usually costs you, you know, 1,500 bucks at least. Cool. Take a break from that and say what's up to the chat. How's everybody doing? It's Tuesday, and look at it. It's coincidence that I'm wearing this shirt. I literally just grabbed it off the top of a clothing pile. But we are using a bunch of Moog stuff, but serendipity happens all the time. Dreams are real. Don't let your dreams be memes, or let your memes be dreams. Not sure which one that is. All right, I'm going back into the chat so I can see if there's any sort of questions. Well, I can't techno or ambient. It's just not what comes out of me. Atograph, I feel ya. I feel ya. I really feel like a lot of that has to do with... I think a lot of people that I meet that make really good techno, by the way, LaCroix, sponsor me, or I'll come for you. Who knows what I'll do? Maybe I'll just come and give you a tickle. You know, maybe I'll just come and tickle you. Maybe it'll be something worse. Ball's in your court. Oh, coconut. One of the best flavors. But often I really do think that sometimes some of the best techno I hear from... I'll meet with some people and like private stuff and private lesson stuff, and I'll hear their productions, and they're like total novices to the max, right? They're just starting out. They're brand new. They're looking to get a jump start. That's why they're working with me. And I'll hear their stuff, and I'm like, damn, you really have an ear for techno. And a lot of it is that they're just learning the machine, and the sounds that they're stopping on are just great. And I just feel like that's what modular is all about, is as you're just getting familiar with your modular, because it's always changing, you're just finding sweet spots and just kind of stopping there. And that's what I think like a lot of techno production is. It's just like messing with stuff and then finding something you're just like, love this rhythm with that weird tone that's being generated. Let's keep that going. Cycle that for a while. If your brain is thinking in any other way, it's not going to work. If you start thinking about chord progressions and stuff, like, yeah, not going to happen. Plus, I'm not a great techno producer at all, but I'm becoming a techno producer. This is such an awesome way to improv. Oh, thanks, Blake. Such a sick little line. I thought so too, and I can't take responsibility for any of the stuff that comes out of this little case because it's doing the work for me. I just patched it up to make it sound nice. What's a good Eurorack case, says Frosty13. Let's answer Frosty13 because there's a lot of great answers. And James Lemonade Maker gave him a fantastic answer. There's the Bafako Performance 7U case. That's not what we're using. We're using the 7U IntelliGel Performance case, which is basically identical. They were the first performance case to come out with a 1U row. No, I mean with the 1U obviously it's the IntelliGel 1U row, which 1 over, let me re-say this. They're not the first case to come out with a 1U row. That's not true because there was the Pulp Logic 1U row. What I meant is they started the IntelliGel 1U row lineup, which eventually beat out the Pulp Logic 1U row. And most of these other cases follow the IntelliGel 1U row measurements. That's what I mean to say. I think the IntelliGel case is fantastic. Use balance line out, and there's a million modules that it connects with to the case itself. Now, a lot of other cases have followed suit. As I said, they're usually taking from the IntelliGel 1U lineup, so you can find lots of great cases that will use similar setups and even have some of the equipment to plug the 1U modules for IntelliGel proprietary stuff into the case because they've just used the same, the same connectors, and so it'll work in the same way, which is really great too. I think if you're really trying to keep a case really small, the black hole cases are quite rugged and they feel very durable. You feel like you're paying a good amount of money. So those like the smaller black U cases, they're what are they, 6U? Or some of them are 7U as well. They have a little 1U row in the middle, which is really cool. I think you can maybe even move it around where you want it to be, but in the middle is really nice. But I like the idea of the black hole case. I actually thought about buying one just to put the sequencer in because they're 60 HP. Put the sequencer in and just like one other voice, probably just like a Platts even, because it just has so many different sounds, along with something to modulate and then a couple of effects. And I think you could get pretty far with that. You don't need to buy a ton of Eurorack to make good stuff in Eurorack. I woke up my cat. Burkut, hi, I got my first Electron box, an OG Digitakt in mint condition. Enjoying myself a lot sequencing the Zencore sound parameter locking the MC707. Pretty cool. MC707's got a pretty formidable sequencer on it itself. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time sequencing stuff that has like one of the main facets of the technology that they've built in their instrument is its sequencer, where the sequencer is like they spent a massive amount of time making sure their sequencer was a formidable sequencer, combating against the likes of Electron and tracker sequencers, which are just so powerful, and then to sequence it with other things. Like, I know that that's cool and that's fine, but I have a hard time with it. I was happy when Electron added the Euclidean sequencer to some of their pieces of kit, like the Digitakt and the Rhythm has a Euclidean in it, and I hope they add it to Analog 4 and everything else for that matter. I hope they add arpeggiators to everything. Like, what the hell? Electron without arpeggiators, I really struggle with that. It's just weird. But because I love arpeggiators. You can get so much out of an arpeggiator. Like, it's one of the most powerful tools we have in electronic music production, and they're just not around. I saw there's a standalone box you can get. It's just an arpeggiator by a MIDI Cake, I think it's called. Yeah, something like that. It's the brand or something. Anyway, they make an arpeggiator standalone box. You send MIDI to it. generates arpeggios. You can send it out to multiple boxes. I think that's really cool. What's up, Harry? You're still awake? All right. It's wondering how to describe the Labyrinth sound. How to describe the Labyrinth sound with the modules in an alternative sequencer. I'll tell you. You want the Labyrinth sound? Okay. Well, the Labyrinth uses a triangle and a sine wave. It has a ladder filter that it shares. It's a ladder filter that goes into bandpass, into a low pass. So you're going to need a filter that's a ladder filter that can do low pass and bandpass. And you're going to need a wave folder to turn your sine waves and your triangle waves into more complex waveforms. Then you're going to need a generative sequencer, generative gate sequencer, and then you're going to need 2 of them, in fact, and then you'll need a dual quantizer. Then an envelope generator, 1 of them, because it only uses 1 envelope generator, and a VCA. That's really it. Oh, and a ring mod and a noise source. Then you can get all of it. But I mean, even without the ring mod and the noise source, even though that's a really big part of the Labyrinth sound, and just great stuff to mess with. Ring mod is an underused sound. Ring mod on your voice is awesome. Ring mod on a guitar, out of control. Just like so cool to shred with a ring mod on your guitar. Sounds insane. So yeah, you can totally do that, build the Labyrinth, but it's going to cost you about 10 times more than an actual Labyrinth. I would just buy a Labyrinth if you really like the sound. 208 HP, that's a big old case. Big fan of the I/O built into cases. So am I. Huge fan. Oh, Harry, you have a Blackwell case? Nice. Yes, it's about identifying the things that resonate with us. No pun intended. Agreed, Jason. It really is about identifying the things that resonate with you. I really like the sound of the Labyrinth's ladder filter. Or just the Moog ladder. I mean, the ladder filter is like my favorite sounding filter. I used to argue with myself that the Polyvox filter was better at one point. But it's hard to find things that use the Polyvox filter other than Erica Sense Bassline, which sounds awesome. But when I bought it, I was under the assumption that the bassline was going to act as an acid box, something that would be comparable to a 303, and it's just not. It's just not the same thing. It's a completely different sound, for sure. But it's not just a different sound. It's a whole groove box, the Erica Sense bassline. But so is this. So yeah, same price too. You like that sound? But I do like that one a lot. This chase mode is really cool to be able to jump in and out of chase mode. You can hit reset. Let's get some like more unique. That sidechain really strong right now. You can really hear it. Pretty cool that you can sidechain with your Digitakt too, like this. You could turn that off, see what happens. See how it sounds. Kind of sounds better with it. You can also sidechain your effects in the Digitakt too, and this is a really cool point. So if you wanted to make rumble bass and have like the points that to let the rumble get ducked, you can use your effects to create your rumble, right? Your reverb and your delay. And then you can actually duck your kick right here, and then you can sample just the effects. And that'll give you a perfect rumble, and then you can time stretch it with the new time stretch in Digitakt 2, and that will be a time stretchable rumble. I would just recommend that you record it at a TECHNO BPM, something 125 plus, I would say, so that it doesn't sound terrible when you're adjusting the BPM to it. but I think it's a cool idea. All right, I'm gonna turn this back on here, and I'm gonna bring this back up. This thing sounds insane. There's no filter on it. It's just wavetables with built-in modulation. Oh, there's a techno sound for you. And this is being sequenced from the Labyrinth. I'm not even using any of the shifty stuff. Here we go. This thing's insane. This is like a whole nother playground right here, the siren. But if you want it to like not go out of equal temperament and like, or if you want it to stay more Western sounding, you need to patch into nearest. don't think there's any place for chords in my techno anymore. Ooh, listen to that bass. This is Siren. Oh my god. That's sick. Maybe we sample that. Let's get like, I guess we can just get 8 bars of it. We got our bass line. All right, let's save it. I'll just call it fat bass. Fat. Bass. Sigh. Thank you, sigh. 'Tis a fat bass, sigh. 5. Take me to 5, senpai. All right, let's bring this thing out. Put this sucker in. Per track. Don't mind if I do. This thing clowning on me, thinking I want to do that. All right. I guess we can mess with this later. Oop. Yes. Let's just get that out of here. God, that bass. Do you even need any more than that? Oh yeah, check this out. This is sound awesome. Yeah. The thing about doing this stuff, doing this stuff live, like going and playing a show, there's been a couple of moments in here where some of my guesses, if you will, about where things will be, like I'm kind of hoping that when I turn a knob that I'm assuming it's going to do a certain action. When I turn the wave folder, I'm assuming it's going to scrunch the wave, it's going to create more harmonics, it's going to be a more shrill sound. And sometimes you find yourself in a spot, especially when you're playing with the VCO modulation, so this is your LFO, and if I'm using it to modulate the pitch, of course, I will take it out of tune. And it's like, how quickly can I find myself in something that's creating a harmonic or sidebands that are usable with my current sequence? That part can be hard, and like you'll end up in a situation where it just sounds like garbage for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds before you rein it in. You know, that's where your skill comes in, is how quickly can you rein in something out of tune in a live modular session. That's the practice scenario. And I feel like I've done that. You know, I've been using modular for a long time, and I've put a lot of practice in, but it doesn't change the fact that you're making these educated guesses based on some experience. You're still going to find yourself in those spots. You know, there's just nothing you can do about it. Everybody I hear play live, they get into that situation. If you were watching for the last 15 minutes, you heard me fall in and out of some spots that were the opposite of sweet spots. Right now, we're in a pretty cool spot. That bass line, freaking sick. We got to set it up so the bass line's envelope doesn't trail off like that. I want it to stop when I hit stop. Sounds like somebody's hitting the Ernie ball, right? Making bass face. Cool little tip about the Mavis is like, listen, I know you can't see it as well. I'll just quickly pan over real quick. So, when you're sending voltage to the Mavis, like we're doing with the Labyrinth, sending it over to the Mavis, if I hit the lowest note on the keyboard, let's get this out of here. Let's turn this off real quick. Just Mavis. I'm getting that sequence, but if I hit the highest note, it'll take my sequencer up an octave without me having to adjust this. It also works with other offsets here. It's kind of nice to do it silently. Notice how we haven't changed many of our sounds or even added much to our sequence in Digitakt 2 because it's, I mean, it is necessary. Like when you're playing, you do want to change those things around. Our focus hasn't been that. Our focus has been what sounds can we come up with in this modular case using some what I consider very techno modules. Hang on here. Let's say what's up to the chat again. Sample that bass, please. We did, Jordo. We were having a thing, me and you, just now. Yeah, techno Viking dancing gif. Agreed. I was hoping to coming into this and find that the Labyrinth was awful and I could save my money, and I'm guessing that's not the case. It is not the case. It is a great sequencer for your other gear. Yo, what's up? Mario. Mario from Electron up in the house. Lab is fairly priced, I agree. Harry, I think it's a good price. Yeah, inhaling egg foo young to this. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the lab will always kind of trip you up, but I think it's a good thing. Forcing you to go with change directions and always challenge and keep things interesting. Hexwave. You can't hear it, but you're getting the snap. Because that is a fact, my friend. I think that is what's so cool about this module. That's what's so cool about these kinds of... That's what's cool about Eurorex sequencing, is that it will trip you up. And if it doesn't trip you up, boring, right? Boring. That's what I really like about... It's a different mindset, but like you'll get tripped up on these ideas and you'll find that it's really fun is playing on the Mate. Because it has so many cool possibilities in it. And with its 4 modulators, along with the 3 effects lanes and then tables, like you can go into a really weird territory. I love that. Some would say that's what is fun about the OP1, is that it has weird... I just think that it's weird. That's about it. That's all I have to say about that. I just think it's weird. But I'm a big fan of the case that I've made here. I'm like, I don't know if I have all the right modules in it. I might take out the Mavis. I do think the Mavis just sounds so good, right? Let's get the bit reduction off this. The sequence for it sucks. What are we doing? Sequencer 2. The Mavis has a wave folder and we're not using it. So let's use the wave folder. To use the wave folder, you have to patch in to the wave folder. I just put this over me. You patch in your VCO to fold in, and now the wave folder will work. That was kind of wild, but it worked out. Yeah, I could use like a vocal or something, I think. We're back in it. Oh wait, let's go back. Okay, do like a proper build, like. Whoa, 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 whoa. What did I do? I changed patterns? Yeah. There we go. No longer techno, but let's roll with it. Check us out. There was a section in there that was just so good. I was just like, this is so awesome. There was just one moment. It was so good. Ah, that was a sesh right there. That was good stuff. Time to repent. Oh, Circo, what's up, dude? Circo's here. Find that Zen lad. Agreed. Yeah, looking for it, and I found it for a moment. I really got to just sit there with it. Once again, sponsor me. Or be prepared for the ultimate tickle fight. And you'll lose. I can hear the hiss of my modular system, which I don't like. So I did a thing. I spent some money on a utility. It's all blocked by wires and stuff, but it's the Radial Key Largo. And I mentioned this in the last stream, I think. And man, it's done me nothing but favors. I'm going to be honest. It has been really useful. Just having the ground lift on my inputs. You want to hear what the modular sounds like without the ground lift? Check this out. Hear that? Doesn't sound cool, does it? That's what happens, right? But that's also because I'm using the headphone out on this module, because that's what I have access to right now. Because it doesn't have 1/4-inch jacks. Whatever. They made some decisions that they had to make. 1010 did. But yeah, this was a really fun sesh, and just kind of to recap, what we're doing is we were using the Labyrinth, which was receiving a MIDI clock from the Octatrack, essentially, which is acting as a performance mixer, bringing everything together, doing performance effects, good techno effects. That's what I have in here, is techno effects. I do have a new template. I'm only saying this at the end here of the stream because I'm gonna record a video and release it with this new template because it's really fun. But I am kind of curious how the new template would sound with this setup, so we'll check that out just for a minute right at the end here. But yeah, to recap, MIDI's coming in from the Octatrack through these boxes, through this 3.5-inch cable, through an RK TRSX MIDI dongle, and that's going into the Moog Labyrinth. This is sending out CV and gates to everything. The Labyrinth is sequencing all the modules. We have 3 voices. We have the Labyrinth as one of the voices. We have the Mavis as another voice, and then we have the Siren as the 3rd voice. We have a bunch of effects, a clouds, and effects aids, and a Nautilus, plus the effects that are in the blue box. We're using a Molt to send the CV and gate out to the Shifty, as well as straight into the Moog. The Shifty is then kind of shifting the sequence around and sending that over to the Siren, so the Siren gets something new based off of the gate and CV voltage from the Labyrinth. And that way I can just play with the Labyrinth and it changes the sequences for everything, right? And the Labyrinth has its own sequence output. So that's what I really liked about this setup, is just using the Labyrinth, playing with the big knobs, the big Moog fun knobs to play with, and the random generation of the sequence to just generate stuff here on the fly. And then I'm playing with some really simple drum sounds, right? I'm just changing out some drum sounds, changing the rhythms on the fly. It's a very improv setup. And this is just my version of how I have interpreted the improv modular electron techno setup, and I think it works pretty well. I think these got some cool sounds early. I mean, that was okay, but earlier, oh my god, it's some really cool sounds. I'm going to clip that or something, save it. I don't even know. Never get it back. That's the problem. You'll never get it back. But that's the idea here, and I really like it quite a bit. So yeah, that sums that up. Let's go back over here, and I'm gonna boot up this other template in my Octatrack and just kind of see how this stuff sounds, because this other template is pretty much finished. It is called Hyper Effects 1.0, and you're meant to send clock to the Hyper Effects template, but you can also send or receive clock. Either way, it's gonna be fine. Let's change this tempo. I can't remember what we were at. I might have to time stretch this bass line that's on 5. There we go. Check this out. It does everything live. It's a whole effects based on live resampling. It's all about rhythm. Anyhow, I designed it for drum and bass. So this is actually a slower tempo than what it really sounds good at if we really speed this up. You can hear that reverb. I think it's my Octatrack. The reverb goes like... It's got that distortion on it. So if I go like this, back to dark reverb, and then reload my part. Now the reverb's clean. It did sound quiet before, and now it sounds like it's at the right volume. Just a bunch of insanity. Sounds fantastic using the tracker. I designed it so for me to play shows with a M8 tracker, so not really made for doing this, but doesn't sound terrible either. Cool. Well, that's gonna be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation on how I'm using the Labyrinth as my sequencer for all of my Eurorack currently, along with the help of a shift register, and using the Electron gear as the driving source for the sounds, and the Octatrack Performance Mixer as a performance mixer. If you'd like to support this channel, you can just leave a nice comment down below, or a like, or both. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can visit patreon.com/EZBOT. If you like what you just heard, this weird template, that'll be available maybe even tonight on patreon.com/EZBOT. But all the other stuff that I have, lots and lots of rewards on my Patreon available for the Octatrack and other devices like the M8 tracker and Digitakt, available on patreon.com. So feel free to join. The Discord is a great place to hang out. There'll be a link for that in the comment section. Come on down, come hang out in the Discord with us. No prereq. It's free, completely free. Come on in. So yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out, and I will see you maybe on Friday if I can get around to doing a second stream. Everybody have a blessed, blessed evening.